we've got several things projects we have going on. One, when you leave, look at our micro museum out here in the case. We've got some artifacts and pictures of old Jenks that you might be interested in. We're also collecting money. Can you spread those?
They're out.
Okay. We're looking for donations. We're trying to furnish our office. School has given us office down at the Sooner Building. We need a computer, scanner, printer, software. We've raised $2,200, but we have a budget of $6,000. So we're a little bit away. So anybody who wants to donate, we'd appreciate it. From $25 helps. Anybody wants to donate $4,000, we sure would appreciate it. This year.
I have one other announcement.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to introduce Gary Smith.
Hi, Gary.
Gary Smith is the president of the Senior Citizens Organization. And for the Saturday meeting next month, second Saturday
in February.
Oh, yes. So you can start your day early. Bring them to hear Gary tell us what's going on with senior citizens in Jenks.
And a little history.
Good.
And Linda, take a few pictures if you can, or Lynn or somebody. Okay. This year, United States is celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And the Jenks American Museum is going to be participating in America 250. So we will have maybe some events here at the library relating to the Declaration of Independence and the 250th celebration. Also, Route 66, they got a big year this year. They're doing a drive, so a lot of historical stuff going on this year. We'll have items and links on our website, www.jenksamericamuseum.org. You can also go on there to donate. Did I mention that we're collecting money? Please donate. Now, for the main event, Don King is a Drumright native and now in his 6th decade of covering sports in Oklahoma. He doesn't look that old. Excuse me. After getting a start at Oklahoma State University's campus radio station, he continued his education while working full-time in Ponca City and for a radio station from 1974 into 1980. After getting married, he continued to broadcast sports while entering the family's oil field supply and manufacturing business. The family eventually sold the business, and Don went to work for that company and moved to Tulsa. So for the past 45 years, he has worked in local television and radio, producing TV shows and doing play-by-play for approximately 1,500 sporting events. Although he did 3 games in the early 80s for radio and TV. He and former high school coach J.B. Haney established Cox Communication in Tulsa Cable football game of the week in 1988. He did play-by-play of the most important Trojan games on TV from 1988 until 2002. And then he started doing the radio play-by-play of Jenks football from 2023 to last season. He still does play-by-play on Jenks Trojan TV, which is free on YouTube. After 2 years of research, he published the Jenks Trojan football record book, first in its kind. He did this in the summer of 2022 and plans to republish it next summer. Ladies and gentlemen, the myth the legend, the man, Don King.
What I typed up there was way too long. Sorry about that. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody. Would it be okay to have everybody introduce themselves? So
Sure.
Some people I know and some some I don't. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. More fun for me probably than you guys. But if we don't mind starting over here, just introduce yourself and your connection with Jenks.
My name's Lee Ward. My connection with Jenks is this lady right here.
Arlene Ward, class of '79, and I'm a founding member of the Jenks American Museum.
Annie Bowman, and I'm here with the board of me.
I'm Greg Bowman. I've lived here since 1965 or 64, whatever.
Lane Fraley, I've been here most of my life, and class of '74.
Ward number 86, played in for the Jenks Trojans.
I did.
Mike Cole, class of '74, and my daughters, two daughters were Jenks lifers, graduated in 2013 and 2017.
And you were number 70.
And now I'm the same age as my jersey.
Yes. Clyde and I go way back. We worked in advertising together. Went to OSU a few years apart, but still known each other forever.
I'm Terry, and I'm here because of Dawn.
Paula Baker moved here in 1975. I started teaching at Jenks in 1981 through 2008.
Wow.
And we still live here.
Nice.
Jim Baker, and I came here to teach in 1974 and left in 2001, which means I had marketing education, or the kids call it DECA. But I had meant that I had an awful lot of football players. I have to admit that during those years, the most frightening thing that happened to me was I had Vic Greenland in class. But I survived Vic, and we still speak to each other.
Vic texted me. He's duck hunting, so he's probably watching on Facebook and he's getting done duck hunting.
That's not an excused absence.
No. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Brian Sherman. I've lived in Jenks for 15 months.
Okay. Good. Billy?
Billy Bayouth, class of '68, and I'm just a Jenks lifer. Been here all our life, lived on Main Street.
Ward number 60? 61.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, JD?
I'm JD Newland. I'm a lifer. Graduated in 1956.
Trying to think of your, I want to say 55, but I don't think that's right.
56 is when you mean number?
Yeah.
48.
48.
Sam's was 49.
Did one of your boys wear 55? Do you recall?
80 and 81.
Okay. Nick and Scott, they were both all-state players as well. Go ahead, sir.
Joanne Newland, class of '57.
Go ahead, sir. Sorry, Joanne.
I'm Ray Walters, and I married one of her classmates. She graduated with Joe, and I married Shirley Hollingsworth. And so I've been around here since '72, but been involved a lot with the sports, keeping up with it.
Was Jerry your brother-in-law? Do you know Jerry Hollingsworth?
Yeah, Jerry was my brother-in-law, and he graduated in
66. He was in my class.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been around here, go to church with JD and Joanne for the last 15 years or more.
Your nephew, I knew Jerry because Coach Trimble took me to Jerry's shop one day and became one of my first radio sponsors. And I met Casey. He was in there that day.
He's over in Tuttle now.
Okay. Casey is one of only 2 players to ever start the season with a kickoff return to start the season for a touchdown. Yeah, you'll have to tell him that. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I got introduced a while ago, Gary Smith. I've been living in Jenks proper since 1980. Prior to that, I lived in the Jenks School District, had 4 children that all went to Jenks, but I worked in oil and gas, so I've been transferred all over the place. And, but my son, my oldest child, played football up through the 7th or 8th grade here at Jenks, and actually they were playing in whatever year it was of school. They were playing Union, and he was a fullback, and they put him in as a linebacker. Union was driving down the field. If they scored, they won the game. He intercepted a pass. Game over.
Nice.
So that's my claim to fame. Sorry to him. He's 63 now, by the way. Unbelievable.
Don, one other thing, Rocky's dad, Merle, and I go back to the 50s in California. Yeah.
I didn't know the Calmuses lived in California at one time.
Well, Merle did years ago, but not Rocky.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm Greg Pilgrim, been around here forever. My wife is a lifer, my mother-in-law's a lifer, my kids are lifers. My claim to fame is my wife, her aunt had Betsy Mayo Kindergarten building here in Jenks. My wife is a Lawson Mayo.
Okay.
Yeah. My daughter won state championship in soccer in Jenks, so how about that?
Nice. Yes. That's one of our trivia questions coming up for a gift card. Okay. Ma'am?
Kathy Bolton Gore. I'm just a visitor. I was raised here, graduated class of 76. And she's a basketball player, not a football player. Right?
My name is Becky Bolton Ingram, and I was born here also. We have 5 generations in this community and 3 generations of Jenks Trojan cheerleaders.
Oh, nice.
Fun.
My name is Tom Graham. I am not from here. I'm an Enid native of all places, but been associated with Jenks since 91 through the kids. Wipers and been through band and the football programs and been kind of hanging around that long.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Name's Craig Henderson. I'm Sepulpa Chieftain.
That's okay.
And I'm here because of
Craig and I are cousins. So he's from the Sepulpa. I'm just telling about Catch Department Store. They've all been to, obviously some of these people grew up here. Craig's great-grandfather and my grandfather owned a Catch Department Store in Sepulpa. So my family originally all came from Sepulpa, and we migrated to Drumright because of the old business. And to throw some flowers toward Tom Graham, Tom's a little bit, not going to mention it, but Tom is the person that started the Jenks Trojan football website back in early 90s? Somewhere like that. And then his son, who was an all-state offensive lineman, played at Iowa State, came back, helped Tom with the website, and the JT logo that was formed several years ago and was actually worn on the side of the helmet, Eric designed, right? And trademarked that logo. Tom's been hugely instrumental in Jenks football history, and Sports Illustrated several years ago did a list of the top high school football websites in the country, and Tom's was one of the top 10 in the country. So, well done. Well done.
Get the 2 ladies in the back.
Oh, yes, please.
Linda Parker, graduated in the class of 67. I am Denise Kuntz's sister.
Okay, Lynn Gentis Mayo. I'm the daughter of Sue and Jerry Gentis. The Gentis family was one of the first 12 families to settle in Jenks. I was drum major, band to support the football team in here. I was drum major from my junior and senior year and class of 1967.
Nice. It takes a village. Go ahead.
Wayne Parker.
The most influential person here.
Thank you very much. Class of 1966. Jenks lifer, my parents went here. Everybody I know went here to Jenks. I did play football. I carried a lot of water to the team.
And one late arrival, she needs to introduce herself. Sorry to embarrass her, but go ahead.
I'm Courtney Trimble. I'm just ready to see Dawn doing this.
Thank you, Courtney. You've already heard about my history, so we don't need to go into any of that. Here's the first trivia question for a gift card to the Trojan Shop. How many state championships has Jenks won as a whole? And I'll go within 10, and it's at least over 150.
Holy moly.
112.
You were
19.
215. So you were right on the money.
Wow.
Yeah, Steve. Billy told me that in the parking lot.
Yeah, literally.
And this is Mark and Holly Moore. Mark is a coach and Holly's a special ed teacher. Mark, you teach, right? Or
in-house supervisor.
Yeah, in-house supervisor. Mark is All-American safety at OSU in their Ring of Honor, played professionally for the Seattle Seahawks, and we're blessed to have him as one of our youth coaches, and Holly as well has been very instrumental. So good to have them here too. Yeah, 215 state championships. We have more state championships in all sports than Union, Broken Arrow, and Owasso combined. Wow. That just shows you that it's not just football; it's all sports, and that's amazing. We have 18 championships in football. We're one behind, actually two, I believe, now behind Carl Albert, who has won like 10 of the last 11 or something like that. They're at 20. Adis has been stuck on 19 since the 70s, and we're at 18. But there are other state championship sports in Jenks. Boys swimming has won 23 state championships. Girls tennis has won 20. The only sports that we have not won a state championship in yet is boys basketball. We've been to the finals twice. And
Gotta be wrestling, isn't it?
Wrestling's the other sport, yeah, that we have not. We've had some individual state champions, but not as a team. So hopefully we can get those done pretty quickly. Back to my Jenks roots, or J.B. Haney and I started the Tulsa Cable Games of the Week. So I think J.B. Haney has a lot to do. For those that might remember him, he was a coach here in the Tulsa area. Started in Seminole and just moved around, ended up at Owasso and then Tulsa Webster, and got into the media. And that's where I met him. And we were doing a show called Sports Scene. Boy, you've got to have a memory to remember that. But it was back in the mid to late 80s. It was on Tulsa Cable, and it was statewide. It was 6 to 8 in the evening. Bill Land and Dean Blevins were the hosts, and I had the pleasure of producing the show. And Bill went on to become the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. And if you watch TV, you know Dean's been in TV and just retired. But that was when Tulsa Cable really started. They started late 70s, probably around 80 as far as their penetration, and became one of the top 10 cable companies in the country just because of their penetration per capita. And Mark Savage was the president, and he knew to make money, he had to spend money. And so we were doing a radio sports talk show that on the 1430 AM signal that got sold. And so after 6 months, we were out of work, and Bill Land went to Mark Savage at Tulsa Cable and said, I think we can do this show in the evenings and just turn it into a TV show instead of just radio. We can show video to support the games. We can take calls like we do in radio. But when somebody calls and says, hey, what about that catch? Was he inbounds or out of bounds? I'll have the video to support it. And you can watch it on TV as we're talking about it. Mark Savage thought that was a brilliant idea, and so we started it. And to show you how to make money, you got to spend money. He gave me a budget. This is 1985 to 88. I had a budget, I want to say, of $125,000 a year to spend to go on remotes for OU Texas games, OU Nebraska. We sent somebody out we sent Dean out to the Super Bowl one year. We would take baseball trips in the summer. We'd go to Kansas City and do 2 or 3 shows from the Royals baseball park. And George Frazier, who's from this area, whose kids went to Jenks, you might remember Matt and Brian, who played sports, and then Georgia was Miss Oklahoma, and I think 3rd runner-up Miss America here a few years ago. But George was an old American League player, so he would go to Kansas City with us. And then in the National League, Steve Rogers, who was a great pitcher with the Montreal Expos, Steve lived here in Jenks, and Steve would go with us to St. Louis and knew all the players, and so we had great shows. We were on 6 to 8. So anyway, enough about the TV deal. So after that shut down, JV went to Tulsa Cable and said, hey, we're not doing anything as far as a show, because at that time, Tulsa Cable, this was before really ESPN got started. So Tulsa Cable not only did this 2-hour show, we broadcast 50 to 60 sporting events a year. At that time, we did a couple of OU football games a year, Tulsa, probably 3 or 4 road games for them, Oklahoma State, Oral Roberts baseball. So he said, and ESPN was really starting to get going. So the shows that you see on ESPN, the talking shows that you see throughout the day, that was really what we did back in the 80s. In fact, ESPN, I went up and interviewed with them in 87 because they were interested in doing a similar show like what we were doing. They were interested in what we were doing. But $40,000 was the salary that they offered. I had to move my family up there with no moving expenses. And I think I was making, I don't think I was making $40,000 back then, but it wasn't enough to move to Bristol, Connecticut to go to work for ESPN. So anyway, we stayed here. And that's when JV started the high school stuff. And so we did all the Jenks Union. I think I've done every Jenks Union game since 1988. So I've seen almost all of them, obviously. But to get to the book, so we did research. We went through the Tulsa World, the Tulsa Tribune, the Oklahoma City paper, all the way back to the start of 1917, which was the first year of Jenks football. Vic Vreeland's grandfather, some of you probably know this, Vic Vreeland's grandfather, Mutt Engel, actually started Jenks football. Mutt was going to school at the time, and Bixby had a football team, and so it's my understanding that he wanted to form Jenks football. And so in 1917, after school, they formed a team, and then they went and played at Bixby. It's about 2 blocks from where their current stadium is. And that was the very first Jenks football game, was against the Bixby Spartans. And then later, it obviously in 1918, they started playing on a regular basis. Here are some of the names that I've uncovered that you guys will probably, it'll ring some bells with you. It was absolutely a thrill to go through all the box scores of all the papers. These are notebooks from this notebook has every game recap that the World or the Tribune did from 1917 to 1969. So for those that, and I'm going to donate this to the museum.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then this one is 1971 up to 1989, and then I have another book from 1990. these are all of the football rosters going back to 1937. I don't have every year. In fact, some of the years I am missing is 1966, 1967.
I'll get those to you.
Okay, I like that. Also, some in the 50s, 54, 56, 57, 58. So if some of you have some of those, I'll let Wayne know, and we can work on that, and I'll give those to the museum as well. This is a notebook that I keep that has all the stats, every game and season stats from 1972 up to today. So I did a lot of, was able to get a lot of the stats from about 1972 to the present. The 60s, they did not have a lot of stats. And one of the guys that, I'm sorry to say, I didn't have all the complete stats for, that I'm missing 4 or 5 games that you'll remember, is Larry Brown. Larry was a great running back here at Jenks, a great athlete. He and his brother Mike. Was Tony Brown related to Mike and
Yes,
Larry?
he was in my class, 66. He played quarterback and halfback.
Okay.
He also played baseball,
Yes.
first base, and basketball.
Yeah.
Left-hander.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I know Larry, and I've talked to him and interviewed him, and he doesn't have any, clippings or stats or anything. Obviously, what'd you do in this game, Larry? It says here you ran for 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Well, if that's what it says, I guess that's what I did. But here are some names that I uncovered. The oldest record, there are probably 70 names, 70 to 75 different players listed in the record book. JD's boys were all-state players, Scott and Nick. Tom's son, Eric, was an all-state lineman. And so